As I go through the history of the Real Housewives and I think about the moments of glass tossing, wig pulling, altercations of all sorts and varieties, I often wonder for me as a viewer and as a reviewer, for the audience, what makes you feel certain situations are iconic, and then what makes you feel certain situations are ghetto, as some people call them. And I want to think about this from a psychological perspective because I also kind of wanted to understand the rationale for the John Hopkins disclaimer at the end of last night's episode. Was that on behalf of John Hopkins? Was that a mandatory statement that they had to put out? What was the reason for that? And what do you think about this altercation in regards to other altercations that we've seen on Real Housewives?
Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and I wanted to go through the history of housewives and housewives altercations. And I just was up this morning and I was thinking to myself, this is the second time on Potomac that we've gotten a disclaimer of such like a huge disclaimer at the end of an episode. And I thought to myself, was this disclaimer something that Bravo decided to do, or was this disclaimer something that John Hopkins ordered Bravo to do? What was the reason? I'm just trying to figure it out. And again, as I go back through the Housewives, and if you saw that clip, I went back, baby. I went back. All right. I went back to just about every altercation that I could think of. And I said to myself, but I don't remember any of those. I don't remember any such disclaimers when other things have happened of the same variety. So I was just trying to figure that out. You guys let me know what you guys think about it. I see Key Petty says maybe somebody said maybe Wendy thought it. Sean says it wasn't a big deal. It was a big deal to me. It was a big deal to me. Okay. And we'll get into why and what the implications are for it, because I need to know where it came from, whose idea it was, and what it means specifically for Wendy, because she's the one who works there. And if you didn't think that that was important, you got another thing coming. Okay. You got another thing coming. Now, and again, I go back to all of those other instances, and I just ask myself also too, is this a safe space for Wendy to be in at this point? Given the work that she does, because ultimately last night was a virtual-ish show to me, okay? It was a virtual-ish show to me. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, if I ever see somebody tell me to get to the point again, Miss Vanessa Smith, you're going to be blocked, as you are today. I'm not dealing with it. There's a point that we got to make because these shows are important to us, and I'm going to take my MF and time to go through it. Don't play with me today, okay? Not today. Get on somewhere and go somewhere, watch the episode again. Anyway, Lene says, I think it was because Wendy referenced John Hopkins. The episode was so upsetting. All right. They blocked y'all. This is, and let me, I'm gonna take some more time, okay, for those of you guys who might be new here, okay. When we have these conversations, I ain't here to rush, okay. I'm here to have a ponderosa with the people that I care about, that also care about the shows that we all watch. And so I ain't gonna rush. I'm gonna take my time because this is conversation, this is commentary. And if you want a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, I'm gonna suggest you go call Tyrone. Okay. And Tyrone don't stand for no other content creator. That's a reference to an Erica Badu song. Get on someplace else, do your thing, and allow content creators to do what they do. If you, and as a matter of fact, and let me take it a step further. If you want drive-by communications, there is a whole app called TikTok out there for you. Okay. You can get all the content that you want in 1 minute or 1 minute and 30 seconds or 3 minutes or less. Okay. That may be the place for you because it's not here. Period. Now, let's get into some things. All right. That disclaimer was important for me as someone who works in the space of news, entertainment, and going to these other places like MSNBC or Fox and those places that Wendy she's a part of that circuit of political commentators. And so for me, what I wondered was, is this statement indicative of what of the business stepping in and saying that they want no involvement in this? Or was that Bravo being preemptive? Or was that Wendy herself that wanted to separate the incident from the institution? So that's important. Okay, it's important. And we analyze the things that happened in the episode. And if you don't like it, then listen, I don't know what to tell you, but we're going to analyze it from top to bottom because that's what we do. Ty J says the disclaimer is to protect Wendy from getting fired. Her husband is a lawyer, and y'all know these Ivy Leagues plague giving Black women their tenure. Okay. Good. This is the type of discourse that I was looking for. Thank you so much. Mariana says this is no longer entertainment or enjoyable. They need to go back to the drawing board because this ain't it. Ratings will definitely tank. Folks are tired. And then we have another one from Tresha says, take your time. I think Wendy will walk away before she jeopardizes her livelihood. And then Gadget Girl says, Richie not playing today. Take your time, love you. Thank you. Thank you, boo. Yes, I mean, this is why it was concerning for me, because that's her livelihood. And I don't think people are looking at that. There's what happened on the show, but then there is, my worry in that moment was for her livelihood. And I don't understand how people don't see that. And that's the human aspect for me, is that when she leaves there, she still has to go and work. You know what I mean? So that's why I asked that question. And we're going to ask plenty more questions. So, get ready. Get ready. Get ready. All right. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into the episode. What would you guys rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm gonna actually give it a 10, despite the fact that I was triggered. Let me know in the chat what you would rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. It was very triggering. It felt like I was watching Beverly Hills last night. That's how triggered I was. And y'all know how we felt watching Beverly Hills, for those of you guys who were here for that. Thank you so much. Love you, Richie. Do you? You are so right on about Wendy. I just wanted people to understand that there was more to where I was going with that than just a flippant, what was that for? You know what I'm saying? For me, I'm thinking about the long-term ramifications and the impact that it could potentially have for her. That's why I asked that question. And I worry for her in that regard because, I know how hard it is to work in certain spaces. And one wrong move these days and people will not want to work with you. So that's why I wondered. Camilla says, y'all know y'all done made Richard Melody get right into it, get them together. And that's never my instinct or my personality in general. Is never to, I don't ever want to be that, not a combative person, but I just But when we're talking about something important, this is someone's life. This is someone's livelihood. So it's important to me. Toya says, I'm sure JH knows Wendy is in entertainment. I can't see them firing her for no. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Cassandra says, tell them today, and I almost fell out my chair. Courtney says, I don't watch as much reality TV because it's becoming more and more toxic. It's disturbing to see how careless some are all to make good TV. Thank you for that. And thank you guys for the super chats. I really appreciate you. And thank you, California Cutie, for becoming a member as well. I appreciate y'all so much. Let's get into, again, the episode for me was a 10. There was a lot because there was so much that happened in one episode, and the episode really only spanned a couple of hours. And I just felt like we got a lot to cover. So let's dive right in, okay? We get a lot of flashbacks at the beginning of this episode that are between Wendy and Mia. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, letting us know that episode 7, which is titled Beef is Served, is really going to be focused on Wendy and Mia. And we know it's coming in this episode. But for me, I just didn't know how major this was going to be. All right. So Peter's telling Mia that he has some beef with Wendy. Okay. Because we'll get to that in a second. But apparently Peter and Mia go way back, and she's determined to find out what the beef is. Gizelle, Robyn getting ready for the night. Ashley reveals guys have been in her DMs. She found a house. They accepted her offer, but the tenants can't move until July, so she's not moving in. Michael is becoming more and more difficult. And we told you, girl, to get yourself an attorney. We've said it all season. We've said it for the past 7 weeks. Girl, get an attorney. Frenchie, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. You don't have to actually be the person that's dealing with Michael's day-to-day shenanigans. That's what you hire a lawyer for, okay? We learned that Candace is supposed to be arriving around 10 p.m., but it seems to me like 10 p.m. is way too late because Wendy could have used some form of support in last night's scenario. And I felt like if Candace had been there, my hope is that she would have been able to help either diffuse the situation or get Wendy out of there. All right. Now, we see Mia and Jacqueline arguing over what seems to be deodorant, or I guess, maybe Jacqueline showed up to the trip with things that she just forgot or whatever, and she's asking Mia for these things. If you guys will go back, you will recall Mia talking about how she felt like a lot of times that she had to take care of Jacqueline, but we also got this notion in a previous episode that Mia grew up with Jacqueline. So there is this relationship between Mia and Jacqueline right now is giving me Kyle and Kathy Hilton vibes, just a little bit in terms of that sisterly, sister girl friendship / sisterhood that has some elements of toxicity that really haven't been touched on, but are starting to be revealed as we begin to see them more and more on camera. Okay. Wendy takes a minute to chat with Karen about celebrating her birthday. We learn Karen is not cool with Charisse. She agreed to get coffee with the girl and nothing more. Okay. And Karen reflects on Charisse's questionable behavior in the past and reveals they haven't been friends in 5 years. So why are you trying to be friends now that you're back on the camera? And why is everybody else trying to push the two of them together? Okay. Makes sense to me. If we ain't talked in 5 years and all of a sudden you show up on camera trying to talk to me, I'm wondering why you're trying to talk to me too. Okay. And I'm wondering why everybody else is trying to force you on me as well, because quiet as it's kept, I'm the type of person that if I don't like you, I just won't be around you. And that's it on period. I ain't got to let you know I don't like you. I ain't got to make it uncomfortable for everybody else. But don't nobody else need to make it uncomfortable for me. Don't bring this person around me. If I told you I don't like them and I don't want to be in their space and I don't like their energy, keep them far away from me. And if you bring them around me, I'm mad at you. Okay. We got a super chat. All About Those Comments says this episode seemed to set at the beginning of the end of Mia and Jacqueline. Oh, yes, it did. Okay. There was a lot here. All right. There was a lot to unpack. Now, Ashley TikToking up on the roof with no underwear or whatever. Is it a common thing? I don't know for women to wear or not wear underwear. Let me know in the chatterization. I don't. This is something that is, it's a foreign concept to me. All I know is that when I wakes up in the morning, I got to put on the underwear because otherwise, if you accidentally zip up that zipper the wrong way on your jeans, you in a mess of trouble. Okay, as a man. So I don't know what help me understand if you do or you don't. Okay, I don't have no thoughts or opinion about it either way. I was just kind of wondering about it since it was a statement made in the episode. Okay, so Mia comes out complaining about Jacqueline to Gizelle, and I think Ashley's down there. They discover that they're going to bar one, and Mia reveals to the group that Peter has some issues with Wendy. Ashley wonder if Wendy knows that they're going to bar one. So Gizelle says that Wendy, was allegedly researching Peter to try to approach him about his restaurant. Okay, now let me say this. Gloria says you ain't got to broadcast it. Some women don't wear them with sundresses. Okay. Sweet Cherry, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Jennifer says never been a Wendy fan because her words can sometimes be too much and cause more anger. However, a drink in the face is a no. Thank you so much. And then Clarissa says underwear should be worn, period. Okay. Now, having said that, Gizelle says that Wendy was researching Peter to try to approach him about a restaurant. Ain't that what you're supposed to do before you start business with anybody? Ain't you supposed to research them? Like, wouldn't you research them? If you know he's a restaurateur, you want to go into the restaurant business, wouldn't you research the person that you're trying to go into business with? I think I would. That's called smart. Wendy has a background. I mean, she's got 4 degrees. She is no stranger to research. Okay, why would she not? KG, thank you for the super chat. Says, I don't like how they chose Mia's side, but did Mo grimy colorism much? I mean, listen, I got some things. We got some things to talk about in a minute. Then Gizelle goes into her own backstory of knowing Peter, and they determine to find out the tea. But Gizelle says it don't matter anyway because Wendy ain't got no money. How do you know how much she got in her bank accounts? How do you know how much she is investing in the stock markets? How do you know how much she has saved? How do you know how much real estate she does or does not have? How do you know how much capital she has in access to via family trust or who knows what? You don't know what this woman has. You're not in her bank accounts. You're not in her pocketbook. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that you need to be worried about is the money in your account, okay? Stay focused on that. Stay focused on the money in Jamal's account and not Wendy's, all right? Meanwhile, it's pregame time, and we learned that frogs have watertight booties for some reason. I don't know where that came from, but, it's a thing. It's time for shots, and then they're off. They're off to the races. Mia and Jacqueline are in the car with Wendy and Karen, and they both like Charisse. And Karen just wants to be open, but as Jacqueline is talking, I feel like Mia kind of shuts her down a little bit. Did y'all feel like that? I feel like when they was in the car, I feel like Jacqueline was saying something, and Mia was just kind of like, "Girl, if you don't stop, shut up," or something. I mean, I don't know I can't remember if she said "shut up" or what. But what I do know is, I felt like there was some tension there, and I felt like Jacqueline didn't appreciate being shut down like that. Mia does feel like Charisse is dramatic, and that a lunch with Karen may just end up in more drama. Okay, and basically, Charisse is lucky she's there because she has a room. Candace don't even have a room, a bed, or a bathroom at this point. So I feel like we're starting to see more and more of this interesting dynamic between Mia and Jacqueline that again kind of reminds me a little bit of Kyle and Kim / Kyle and Kathy. But again, since they're not real sisters, it's just giving me that type of feeling for some reason. The Don says it's crazy people can't take Wendy's words, but can take Nick's, Robyn's, and Mia's actions. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate all of the super chats coming through. Biracial Bubblegum TV says Wendy was aggressive, antagonistic, talking like a man with her fingers and gangster face, but Mia was wrong. Wendy was really hood, and Mia went with her. I want to say this, and I first of all, I want to say thank you for the super chat. I hesitate to call any of the Black women on the show hood or ghetto because, again, I feel like as I showed you guys in the clip prior to at the beginning of this video, we have seen wine throwing, all out brawls, people being pushed in the pool, Danielle yanking Margaret's hair, Jen Shaw pouring a drink on a cast member from this season, Margaret throwing a drink at Danielle not once but twice, Lisa Rinna breaking a glass and hitting everybody with water, Brandy Glanville slapping Lisa Vanderpump, Brandy Glanville tossing wine in the face of Eileen Davidson completely unprovoked. I didn't even get to show Adriana smacking the mess out of Joanna Krupa on Miami season 2. So to me, if you're gonna call these Black women ghetto or hood, you have got to also give that same determination and those same labels to their non-melanated counterparts who are doing equally as much, if not more, on their own respective shows. And I have to say that. I have to say that. People need to go back into the history of these shows and recognize that these actions don't just extend to only Black people. But it seems to me like sometimes it's only Black people that are labeled hood and ghetto when these things occur. But nobody is saying those things when Teresa's shoving Andy. It's labeled iconic. So I want us to, as people, to start changing the narrative about how we talk about ourselves. Okay. I don't like what Mia did. I don't always like what certain people do, but I'm not going, I have made it up in my mind at this point in time that I'm not going to call these women ghetto or hood. I'm not. I can't. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch the beginning of this video. I was very intentional with the clips that I showed. Jay McCullough says it's hypocrisy to me. The Green Eye Bandits were against Monique for being violent. Now they're accepting Mia as being violent. Thank you for that super chat. Yaz, my protection says Mia is an imposter, and I agree with you that on other shows, other women do the same things and are not labeled hood. Let's respect our melanated women, even when they don't respect themselves. That's the part that I wanted to hone in on right there, and I appreciate that statement. I refuse to engage in that narrative anymore. There may be behaviors that I don't like, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. All right. So anyway, you know, when they finally get to bar one, all right. Real Housewives of Potomac is supposed to be a mixed girl show. Acting hood is different than being mad. The mannerisms are different, more aggressive. Thank you for the super chat. I'm not sure what that means per se. Wiggy TV says Wendy would have been calm and fun if Mia didn't start drama about something that has nothing to do with her. That fight was so unnecessary. I do think it was unnecessary. And we're gonna talk. I saw some comments. All right. Um, Wendy does realize that they are going to bar one, but she does not want to talk about business until Monday. Because up until this point, you got to remember the business between Peter and Wendy at this point, from Wendy's perspective, I believe is between the two of them. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I'm sure she's not expecting this to come up. And if she wanted to talk to him about it, we know from a later conversation when he does come to the table, she says, check your text messages. So clearly, while he's thinking that she hasn't contacted him or that's the narrative that he has given to Mia, she is letting him know, no, check your text messages. I did text you. Okay. I did do that. Virginia says you need a bigger platform. Everything you say needs to be heard. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I'm gonna get to Peter in a second too, because Udama says the person I was upset most was with Robyn. Get rid of her. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute because that bothered me like a lot. All right. So anyway, the conversation between Mia and Jacqueline begins again. There's some friction here because Mia. I think Robyn asked about some hookah, and I don't know if they have hookah at Bar One or not because I've never actually made it to the inside of that Bar One. I've heard great things about it though. But Mia reveals that Jacqueline loves hookah. She even has a hookah at home, and I kind of feel like maybe it does feel to me like maybe Jacqueline wasn't cool with Mia letting people know all of those details about her. And not that there's anything wrong with smoking hookah, because I mean, it's fun. Everybody, I mean, a lot of people do it. So it is what it is. But there just seemed to be a little bit of annoyance from Jacqueline from like, hey girl, like, tone it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you telling all my business like that? That's the feeling I got. Tania says Peter started this. He knew he would be mentioned and disappeared out of there real smooth. He wants to be a housewife so bad. Shame. Y'all know what? Y'all are going in on Peter Thomas. Let me put this badge down here. So they get on to the subject of Candace and when she's coming, and Ashley says, Candace has a chip on her shoulder, and Robyn reminds her that y'all still have a big issue that y'all talked about each other's husbands. Y'all went at it about each other's husbands. Ashley says that Candace doesn't like when a mirror is held up in front of her, and that if that is Ashley being vindictive, then so be it. But see, Ashley, the thing is, like in life, is it our goal to be vindictive? No, I don't really feel like that should be our goal. You know what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is, if the situation were true, it's not holding a mirror up to Candace, because that is a completely different situation than the things that Michael has been accused of. So it's not an apples to apples situation. The things that are occurring with Chris and Gizelle, and allegedly between your friend and Chris, these are different allegations than the allegations that have been leveled against Michael Darby. So it's not holding a mirror up. And yes, Candace has definitely said things about you and Michael. I get it. But handle those situations in the moment. The moment you set foot in Candace's home was the moment that you guys were setting about on a different path. And at that moment, any idea of vindictiveness that you had from the past, you should have let it go, or you should have never stepped foot in that woman's home. That's how I feel about it, personally. Because ultimately, I feel like if you felt like that, honestly, for real, like it's got to be a space where it's like, you know what? Yo, girl, I already had a conversation with you about this on camera one time. I'm going to tell you what happened with my friend. But I'm going to call you and tell you. I ain't going to say it on camera, because your husband is already going through it enough right now. And I've already done this on camera one time. I did my due diligence. I did my job. I'm not bringing this up again to you on camera for the sole purpose of being vindictive or to embarrass you or your husband. I just don't think it was necessary. Athena says Wendy needs to stay away from Robyn. The lady's evil and wishes her harm. She gets so giddy and jumps in when anyone is going against Wendy. The way they attack Monique for her behavior, but is treating Mia as a victim. Thank you for that super chat, Athena. I appreciate that. Miss Bernice says Patricia started. Y'all, I cannot call this man Patricia. Peter started by discussing Wendy with Mia. If I have a problem with you, I'm coming to you. No cosigner needed. I agree with that 100%. For real. I'm coming to you, especially if it's about business. Don't nobody else need to know that. All right. So then Ashley, then speaking of the Ashley situation, she says where this came from, I do not know. She says, did someone hear her say that Chris touched someone's booty or whatever? And Wendy says somebody repeated it. And then Gizelle said something about it. And Gizelle says that it was said. But we see a flashback of Gizelle getting on the bus saying to Robyn that Ashley said, I think it was Ashley that she is saying that said this, said that Chris propositioned her at the bar and was touching on her leg. Now, how did it get from being flirty? The man was allegedly being flirty at the bar, which was the story that Ashley told, is what I thought she said. But to you going to the van and saying that the man allegedly propositioned her and then put his hand on her behind. How did it get to that? How did we go from being flirty allegedly to now propositioning? You have just now see that right there is the dangerous stuff that I be talking about that I don't like about this show sometimes. I don't like how people can just say whatever they want to say, and that's just it. Like there's no consequence for you just saying making up something, just whatever sounded good that day. That's what you said. Like what? But if somebody were to do it to you, oh no, oh no, oh no, you know, it's just weird. I don't know what that conversation was, but Ashley says she didn't say that. She said he only slid up to her friend at the bar, okay, allegedly. So they start ordering, and Ashley is voice texting Michael or somebody about the kids. Why was she voice texting? I don't know, because I was like, are the producers want us to hear something? Because I feel like sometimes when the producers point out certain things, I'm like, did y'all want us to hear that conversation for some reason? Because otherwise, what was the point? Anyway, Gizelle is just happy that Charisse and Karen have spoke at the airport, but have y'all spoke since then? Okay. Charisse says that, well, Wendy said that Karen said that I'm coming from a bad place. Okay. That's not what Wendy said. That's not what Wendy said to you. What Wendy said was Wendy was asking, okay, a question about whether or not it could be perceived that Charisse was coming from a bad place. She didn't say that Karen said she was coming from a bad place. That is not what she said. Some extra stank was yet again put on, put down on the docket. Good news, Goodies says your commentary is always on point. Thank you so much. I try. Somebody had, I'm just looking at this super chat. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That just touched my spirits. Rihanna Walker says, I hate what happened to Wendy, but let's not forget how she was all against Monique with these women, but now want their sympathy that the tables have turned. IJS. Thank you for that super chat, Rihanna. So in real time, Wendy says, girl, Charisse, you're trying to deflect. And she tells Charisse to direct all that energy to Karen. And she asks Charisse, are you afraid of Karen? And then for some reason, Mia jumps in and is like, Wendy. And Wendy's like, girl, you was just talking about Charisse in the van. Now, I could have swore what Mia said to Karen was something about understanding why she didn't care for her because she felt like Charisse was dramatic. Okay. If my memory served me correct. Now, then she does imitate Charisse, being bougie and theatrical. Oh, I need to stay in a penthouse suite. Oh, I need my own bathroom. Oh, I need some hot water. Oh, it's so hot in here, or something of that nature. So Charisse really just want to know what the issue is between her and Karen. And Karen is like, girl, I do not want to go backwards. End of story is this. Karen is like, we haven't been friends for 5 years. All of a sudden, you come back around, you on the camera, now you want to be friends. Why? It doesn't make sense to me. You are the one who asked me to lunch. I did not ask you to lunch. And Charisse is like, well, how are we supposed to move on? Karen is like, I moved on 5 years ago. Now, sing happy birthday to me because I am tired of this topic, okay? And then she commences to singing happy birthday to herself, okay? So Charisse in her confessional says Karen is afraid of the secrets that she has on her. Well, girl, if you got the secrets, spill them, okay? Because I'm so tired of this topic that Charisse has all these secrets on Karen. Charisse has all these secrets on Karen. Let me say this. I'm gonna tell y'all this. If you felt like somebody had secrets on you, wouldn't you be buddy with them so they wouldn't tell your secrets? Or would you try to ignore them and stay away from them and let them know point blank you don't want to be around them if you was that afraid that they had your secrets at your heart? Okay, if you felt like somebody had your secrets, you're gonna be like, oh no, let's buddy up together. Yeah, let's get together for lunch. What you got on me, girl? That's what you're gonna be trying to do. You ain't gonna be trying to run away from them every time you see them. Like, that don't make no sense to me. Where are the receipts? Where they at? Happy birthday to me. That was Karen, pretty much. Joyce says, you better preach, preacher. Yes, choir. Anyway, Gizelle just wants Karen to tell Charisse what the issues are, but Gizelle, it ain't your business, okay? And as much as you want to know, as much as I want to know, I feel like Karen gonna let us know when she wants to. But for right now, if Karen is saying on the camera, she ain't talked to me in 5 years, she coming around now and she want to be my friend, and she ain't been my friend in 5 years, why would I F with her? I don't have to F with nobody I don't want to F with. You know what I'm saying? Period. Point blank, period. JMW says, I love Karen. She don't give 2 Fs. I love it. I loved it. So Peter walks up and he speaks to Wendy, who she says that she didn't know he was in Miami. And, he says something to her and she says, look at your text messages, indicating she did text. Wendy asked about the shrimp, if the Nigerian shrimp was new on the menu, and he kind of just chuckles. So Ashley asked Mia, well, Mia, he seemed like he was cool with her during the interaction. So are you sure he wasn't just joking? And so Mia says, well, yeah, he is a jokester. So then Mia is determined to find out what's going on. So her and Shasha Gabor, they head on over to go talk, okay? Gizelle asked Karen to make things better with Charisse, but Karen is only interested in the food that is in front of her and not Charisse. Anyway, Mia and Charisse chat with Peter Pumpkin Eater, and he reveals that she wanted to be part of a steakhouse, and he sent her a contract and she never responded. The survey says that's not true. Okay. Survey says that's not true, because later on we are told by Wendy via her text message receipt here that she was indeed waiting on him because she wanted to see the place before she wrote the check, before she signed the contract, and before she sealed the deal. Okay. But that part was conveniently left out of the conversation with Mia. Okay. Anyway, Shasha leaves. Peter, I just want to open up a champagne bar. I've got the money to do so. I won't stand you up like Wendy. I am going to be leaving right now, but I want to pick your brain later. Okay. So she bounces off. And so, ultimately Mia is, trying to dig and find information. And Peter's like, now she's also in my city and she ain't even say nothing to me. Now, let me say this. Okay, Peter, you be in a bunch of cities. Okay, you be in the Charlotte, you be in the B-More, you be in the Miami. You worldwide. How would she know where you at? Why would she think that all of a sudden she in Miami, she got to contact you? To be quite honest with you, from my perspective, the only person that she needs to let know that she made it to Miami will be her man, and you are not her man. So ultimately, at the end of the day, and also too, okay, if you felt like she was in Miami and she ain't say nothing to you, and y'all trying to develop a working relationship, which Gizelle claims that you said that you thought it was just ludicrous anyway, and that you was just going along with. So then I have to ask the question, why are you even mad for something that you just said that you was going along with allegedly? For all of that, you could have reached out to her and text her, because the phone works both ways the last time I checked. Period. Now, let's go further, because then Mia is wondering, well, like, does she not have the money? Why she's not responding to the contracts and things like that? I mean, to be quite honest with you, Mia at this point in time, first of all, it was unprofessional of Peter to tell her exactly what was going on with the business dealing that he was trying to develop with Wendy. Why is he telling that information to Mia? Because he's not in business with Mia. He's trying to go into business with Wendy. And if he wanted to have that conversation with Wendy, he should have pulled Wendy to the side and said, Wendy, what is going on with the contract? She could have reminded him right there, I was waiting on you for information. They could have deaded that situation. Easy breezy, easy peasy. But no. We didn't have a direct conversation. We had a sidebar conversation off to the side with somebody who ain't got no business in the business. So anyway, back at the table, okay, Ashley reveals to Jacqueline that she's finally starting to come around to Mia. She's getting to know her a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? And Jacqueline tells her, well, Mia can be a lot, and I try to tell her, and as an adult, I don't know if I met her today if I would be friends with her. Jacqueline, even if that's true, okay, even if that's the truth, why would you say that to a group of women you just met about the person that brought you on the trip and put you up in the penthouse suites with them? Okay, now I get it. I think that Mia has probably been pushing Jacqueline's buttons, and Jacqueline is tired. Is she tired? She is tired, probably. But I don't know if that was the right move to make, Jacqueline, because from what I feel like, that conversation is likely to make it back to Mia. And if you are saying, as an adult, I don't know if I would be friends with somebody, that don't really sound like you want to be their friend. That sounds like you've evaluated the relationship and you feel like they might be toxic for you. That's what it feels like. But it does. But I also feel like she's probably just over Mia at this point, because I felt like the way that they was kind of talking to each other felt like, I see some tension here. What's going on? And that relationship might be fine in private, but I think in public it turns into something else, which is why, again, I liken it to the Kyle Kathy, the Kyle Kim of it all, if you are familiar with Beverly Hills. Okay. Meanwhile, they get back, all right, to the table, and it's asked what was the conversation about. Mia reveals that he was upset that he was in Miami and Wendy had not called him. And then she and Wendy get into it because Wendy feels like I said earlier, the only person that she needs to check in with is Eddie. And Wendy had already said in the confessional, she didn't want to talk about business right now. She's with the girls. All right. And the question is, why are they discussing Wendy's business with Peter? Why is he discussing it with Mia? That don't make no sense to me. That seems like some sloppy business dealing. Because why would you do that? They continue to go back and forth about being boss women. I am assuming at some point in time, Wendy may have mentioned the words John Hopkins with the way they put that banner up at the end. Y'all let me know in the chatterization if she did. I could have missed it. I thought I heard it, but now I'm thinking like, did somebody tell me I heard it? I'm confused. Did y'all hear her mention the words John Hopkins University in their argument? Okay, some people are saying she did. All right, she did. Okay, So that could explain it, but I don't know. So they still going back and forth about whether or not Wendy should have called Peter or not, which is ludicrous to me that they're even arguing about this. And Wendy says maybe that's how you and your husband play, but that's not how me and my husband play. And at this point is when Mia tosses the drink and Karen does the Matrix, to avoid getting hit. All right. Karen does the Matrix. And let me just say this moment with the drink toss was honestly not warranted to me. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps if Wendy had said something about her mama, perhaps if Wendy had, I don't know. I mean, it didn't warrant that at all. Okay. In fact, the argument seemed rather silly to me. And quite frankly, at that point, and y'all know I'm not, here's the thing. I consider myself a professional. And as such, I try my hardest to not put myself in situations or in places where I'm going to be triggered, or in situations or places where I'm alone in a situation. And I felt like Wendy was alone last night. And the reason why I say that is because I felt like the moment that drink was thrown at her, two things should have happened last night, okay? And I'm going to prove it to you right now. One, a friend would have gotten her the heck up out of there, okay? That's number one. A good Judy is going to get you out of that situation, okay? Two, the second thing that probably would have happened before the first thing happened. If I were in bar one and I threw a drink at someone, do you know what would likely happen to me? Security would likely yank my butt up and toss me out into the street. Okay? That's actually point number one. So for me, I don't understand why. And I'm sorry, Mia, but at that point, you should have been escorted out. Because in any other restaurant, that is what would have happened in real life. Period. You gotta go. All right. And again, I wish someone would have gotten Wendy away. Like, you know what? No, you did not deserve that. Girl, let's go. This is not for us. This is not for us. And where is Peter at this point? Where? Because he was just there. Okay. And the reason I say if I were Wendy's friend, I would have gotten her away, because in my mind, she's just had a drink thrown on her. Let me take you out of this situation. Let me take you away from this, because this is now turning into dynamite. A powder keg is what they call it. And a powder keg is something that is just, it is bound to explode at any moment. And the simple but this is what takes things, like, things get crazier from this moment. We thought that the wine throw was the craziest thing that happened. It was not. Okay? It was not. Wendy's shocked. Mia is talking about, leave her husband alone. Karen then ran off somewhere. Security swoops in And then Wendy jumps up and tells her, what you gonna do? Because Mia is like, get her out of here, get her out of here. And I'm like, what? And so Wendy's like, what you gonna do about it? I ain't leaving. So Robyn is over off to the side snickering about how Wendy is being antagonistic. And I'm like, she just had a drink thrown at her. Who is, I mean, listen, we got we talking right and right. We talking right is right and wrong is wrong. She just had a whole drink thrown at her. I mean, what you expect her to do? At this point, I don't think she's gonna really fight her, but she is gonna use her words because she's upset now. She's just been doused in alcohol that she did not order. And Dove says, exactly, where's the beef, Patricia? JJ Smith says, how are they both wrong? What did Wendy say about G? Who said they were both wrong at this point? I'm not sure who said that. All About the Comment says, to your point, the problem that I have with Wendy, and this isn't her fault outside of Candace, none of the women have seemed to be her friend. Did the drink not hit her? Or did it touch her hair? Regardless, if someone threw a drink in my direction, okay, I'm going to be upset. Anybody would be upset, okay? Just get somebody, listen. Hey, babe, listen. I'm gonna go ahead and get you out of here. Where's production? Somebody needs to just get her, just like, I was wanting someone to embrace her in that moment and say, listen, let's just go. We don't have to be here for this, right? We don't have to be here for this. So now it's about to be a girl, some type of altercation. You know, Jacqueline says it's too hot for y'all to be fighting. And I'm like, Jacqueline, for real, you need to be up and out your seat trying to calm Mia down. You sit here just watching it go down. Anyway, Robyn, in the most disturbing act that I have ever seen on my television screen, decides that she is going to pull out her phone and start recording. Now, granted, the cameras are already recording. But you know what it put me in the mind of that made this so disgusting? Is when you see these altercations on social media and it's somebody just being wailed on and just you know, they in the mall. It's an altercation in the mall and everybody got their phones out and they just recording it and ain't nobody stopping nothing from happening. That to me is disgusting. Okay, it's disgusting if you're not going to be using that as evidence to send to the police later. Okay, and it reminds me of the voyeuristic ways that people love to just watch, you know, acts of insanity go down for this distinct pleasure of either reposting it later or laughing about it later. Because otherwise, you've already got the cameras here capturing everything for posterity. So what are you recording it for? Not only that, my other problem with you is that you're saying either you're going to fight her or you're not going to fight her. Did you really say that? Did you just try to instigate two women fighting? I know that's not you, Robyn. I know that's not you, Robyn. And I had swore I would never use this word again because I had learned that it is wrong to use in the context of dealing with, I'm not going to say just Black women, I'm going to say Black people in general. But to be quite honest with you, Robyn is one of the most aggressive cast members on this show, and she has gotten away with it repeatedly, season after season after season after season. And why is that, I wonder? Why is that? Why is that? So much so that now you are instigating, you want some people to fight, you want them to get into the altercation, and you recording it. I was sick to my stomach watching that. Sick to my stomach that as a grown woman, you are encouraging this as you are gleefully recording it and then gaslighting Wendy, telling her she's being antagonistic. At this point, you, Robyn, and you, Gizelle, are antagonizing Wendy, okay? Mia and Wendy are already in a heated situation. All y'all doing is making it worse. Y'all ain't making it no better. But y'all claim to be, what was it that Gizelle said? I can't be around this type of thing right here. I got to have security around me. I can't be around this. I can't be associated with it. But here y'all are hooping and hollering, antagonizing somebody that's already in an elevated state of chaos. And now you're going to make this situation worse. And where is security? Why is there only one security personnel here? I missed a couple of super chats, and I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you, Toya. I appreciate that as well. If I missed it, please charge it to my mind and not my heart. Candid Batini says, kudos to Wendy for mentioning Monique's name. If I missed something, please charge it to my mind and not my heart. Because I'm trying to, and if you guys ever feel as though I'm speaking too slowly, it is because I really I try to think about the words that I say before I say them. Conscious Beauty says, Monique has been fully vindicated. The green eye bullies have been revealed. Thank you for that super chat. Demetrius says, Robyn and Gizelle, no fashion sense behinds made the situations worse because they need to mind the business that pays them. They want to get Wendy off so that Charisse can come back. They are trash. Thank you so much for that super chat. We have another one from Natalia who says, I agree, and only recording Wendy, so the narrative being built with that recording for Robyn. There was no need for her to even record that. Thank you for that super chat. There's so much chaos that's happening here that there's so many notes that I wrote. But ultimately, the security guard says, I commend this. Deontra says, I commend the security guard for pulling Wendy to the side and telling her she's better than that. The problem that I now have is that no one has calmed the situation down. So Wendy and Mia are both now ready to go at it. And it is just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And this is what happens when you don't stop a situation from getting to this point, because the used to be holier than thous should have been trying to dead that situation so that neither one of those women, it should have never got to that point. If we are to believe that the holier than thous really want to be that holier than thou, like they claimed that they wanted to be back in the day, where was this now? Where was that last night? I didn't see those. I didn't see those church ladies. I didn't see them last night. Where were they? They were on they were on vacation. That must be it. The pew was empty. All right. Reed says these are some of the most ungrateful women ever. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I'm going hoarse, y'all. I apologize. CC Mama says, will Gizelle spoils her bodyguard in a tiny car next time she has to be around Mia? Oh no. Because as before things get even worse, okay, they continuing on the argument, because nobody's stopping it really, except that one security guard who tried to pull Wendy back. They get into it again after Wendy, Karen and Ashley then switch seats. Okay, Karen tries to tell Mia, "Listen, it wasn't right for you to throw that drink," and Mia's like, "How you taking up for her?" So then Mia and Karen gets into it. Here's the thing about Karen. Karen is going, and the ladies don't like this, but I'm gonna tell you what I do like about Karen is that Karen can tell somebody when they're wrong and when they not wrong and still be their friend. Okay. But I felt like Mia wasn't really trying to hit it last night because for some reason all she was hearing was Wendy said something about her husband. Okay. But this argument wouldn't have even started if they wouldn't have been in Wendy business. Period. Okay. So then Karen and Mia going at it. And then it turns into Mia and Wendy all over again. And then it turns into Mia getting so mad at something. I don't even remember what Wendy said, but Wendy was going in. And at that point, Mia decides to take a pocketbook and wail it and wail it and wail it. Now, I saw Wendy do a matrix, okay? And I think she ducked out of the way, but ultimately Mia breaks some fingernails and get to bleeding. Okay. So she got to walk off. She trying to get a plane ticket home from Gordon. Get me out of here. Get me and my kids out of here. Okay. She trying to leave. And the girls go check, Karen tries to check on her. They get into it because Mia's like, you didn't have my side. You didn't take my side. You didn't have my back in there. I would have had your back. Okay. The only person that really goes to check in on, Wendy outside of Karen is Ashley. Surprisingly, it's Ashley that goes because Ashley feels like Mia was wrong. But before Wendy left that table, she asked them girls something I thought was really poignant. She says, that's so interesting that y'all don't have the same energy for Mia that y'all have for Monique. And then Gizelle and Robyn, they go running to check on Mia. And then we get this infamous title card at the end. Johns Hopkins University has no involvement with the Real Housewives of Potomac. And I was already passionate about this episode because I was so mad and angry and like, just what is going on here? And then I saw that and it just made me so sad because I just thought to myself, at a certain point, Wendy and Mia were going at it with each other. I'm not going to deny that. At a certain point, the human element of Wendy came out, and I think she either says it in the preview for this week or either she said it in this episode. I think it might have been the preview for next week where she says something to the effect of like, dang, that Professor Wendy, this is real Wendy right here. And what I will say is that seeing that card at the end made me wonder if this is where Wendy needs to be on this show. Because when I look back at the video history that I'm going to pull up here of altercations that have occurred on the show, I just don't know if it's going to get any better because this has happened over the course of the past decade. Instances like these. And so for someone who works in that arena, I don't know if this is the best place for them because ultimately it will impact Almost everyone at some point, it seems. Just look at the examples that I'm showing you right here. Um, Not to say that it's her fault, but I do again worry um specifically because of that title card. But you guys let me know what you think. I want to read a couple more super chats because I did miss them. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, Let me get through. Star says, I bet during the reunion they will spin it and say they got bullied by darker skinned women when they were younger. Wish this would stop altogether. Thank you for that super chat. Dana, thank you for the super chat as well. Dasha Jean says, I'm getting Basketball Wives flashbacks from last night's Potomac episode. Thank you for that super chat. Virginia says, I think it's because Wendy is African. Thank you for that super chat. Jay McCullough says, Robyn recording the fight and telling Wendy to fight Mia is similar to recording of, whenever I think about that, it brings tears to my eyes because that situation was so tragic. Noni says, Robyn for me showed her true character, and for her to be calling anyone antagonistic was the irony of it all. I felt bad for Wendy. Crystal, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you. Lakeisha, Robyn, Gizelle, and Mia gotta go. Don't like to see the hate. Lakeisha Coles, thank you so much for that super chat. Make it make sense says Rob the Builder instigated that last night. Shaking my head. Esha, thank you so much. Yeah, it definitely it made me sad for some reason. All About the Comment says, I've wondered how, as a tenured Black professor at Johns Hopkins, she's been able to stay on the show. I hope this doesn't impact her ability to teach to reach tenure. That's the same thing that I was feeling because again, for me, this situation is so much. There's so much outside of just the reality TV of it all that I feel for her. Gizelle said that her friend said Chris rubbed her, then pretends she heard it. Wendy wasn't there to work. Mia Messy went asking for drama. Thank you for that super chat. I just want to, thank you so much for becoming a member. For members, guys, I'm doing some videos for members chats on a weekly basis. Let's see here. We still have the Amirin capsules at 40% off. Use the code Black Friday. It's in the description of the video. Everything in the store. Patty says Robyn's divorced, not divorced. Behind is a bully. This is a woman who got divorced in the name of legality because their bankruptcy lived in the same with supposedly the ex, but condemned Ashley. We say allegedly. Thank you so much, Pretty Johnson. I appreciate you. Vince says Andy Cohen doesn't need to host or navigate the season's topic on colorism. DJ Richie Karamo, or a Black woman moderator, needs to hold these women and their behavior to the fire in an effort of a solution. I think Karamo would definitely be a great choice. Or a really I'm trying to think of somebody else dope, like maybe like a Nina Parker or somebody that can really like have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that I would never want to host a reunion because I honestly, if I don't have to leave my house, I don't want to leave my house. Period. I just like talking to y'all and doing what I do at these news shows. I can kind of run in and out. Crystal, thank you so much for that super chat. There's a couple more here I want to read. Maybe Robyn afraid Charisse will take her spot. She's trying too hard. Sad she went from quiet follower to loud bully. Everyone has been antagonistic. We all know that word means and have all done it. Wendy and Mia did it last night, but Wendy wouldn't stop. Autumn Fall says, I feel like this is Wendy's karma. Thank you all for the super chats. And again, guys, listen, here's the thing. I am not going to call any of these women ghetto. I'm not going to call them hood. I'm never gonna do that. Do I think the lines were crossed? Absolutely. Do I have hope that they can come back from it? Absolutely. And I hope that this doesn't mess up anything for Wendy outside of the show, because I just, I do feel for that in that regard. And that disclaimer to me, it meant something. And I'm just trying to figure out how much it meant. Okay. With that being said, y'all know I love y'all. I am hoarse at this point. And we're going to pray about this one. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Oh, we got one more super chat. Can we start a petition to get Robyn off the show? Her bully behavior was low vibration. Like them low vibrational plates. Thank you for that super chat, boo. I appreciate that. And I appreciate y'all for being in this chat. I got to go because I'm like, my throat is literally hurting at this point. So I love y'all, and I will catch y'all in the next video.